Are we live? We're going live. It's thinking about sending us live. It probably already has and just hasn't told us. There we go. See, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up? We are live. And if we're
That's
live,
what it says in the
you're
corner.
live. We're live.
We're
You
all
may not be live. We are all alive. We all made it to the 9th month of the worst year in history. Like, high five.
I don't know if it's actually the worst year in history.
No. I mean, I'm a glass is half full kind of girl, so I'm doing my best to like keep the spirits up and conjure up all of the good vibes that I could find. A little lemonade out of lemons. I don't even like lemonade though. So, what are we doing?
Iced tea? Oh.
I don't even like an iced tea.
Yes, you do.
What are we doing today? What do you mean you don't know? What are we doing here live?
I know.
So tell us.
Talk About It Tuesday.
It is
Welcome.
Talk About It Tuesday. And
I'm
welcome
Jerry.
everybody.
This is Rachel
Yes.
Niesman of the Niesman team at Keller Williams Realty.
Hello.
And this is another episode of Talk About It Tuesday.
We are talking every Tuesday 4 to about 5-ish p.m. about all things real estate related. We pick a different topic every single week. We are in week 4 of 5 of a series dedicated towards our sellers, people who are thinking about selling their home specifically. We talked about buyers versus sellers market and which one we're currently in. We talked about how much is my home
it's
worth.
It's a seller's market.
It is. If you're thinking, if you want to know how much your home is worth, let us know. But today we're talking about how to make your home worth more money. What you can do as a homeowner to increase the value of your home, right?
Right.
So this is, even if you aren't thinking about putting your house on the market and selling it anytime soon, I think that this is an important topic. A lot of people ask us these questions about what does it make more sense to do? Should I get a new AC versus put it in a pool? Like, what gets you the most return on investment?
That's a big difference.
I guess I could have suggested like repainting versus flooring, but let's go with two very opposite ends of what people would consider to be done.
I guess if you put it in the pool and your AC goes out, at least you can swim in the pool when it's 98 degrees.
That's true.
90% humidity.
I don't know that it would add much value to your home in terms of resale though. Like, here's my Florida home. Once upon a time when Jerry and I first met, we met when we were working together at Nissan. And we used to sell Nissans in the, like, hot Arizona sun with, like, cranked down windows instead of, like, air conditioning. No air conditioning. It was unbelievable. So, listen.
Listen, it's a dry heat. So, if you're moving, it's like having a hot blow dryer blowing in your face. That's all.
118. Where's CJ Henderson in this? 118 doesn't feel so bad, huh? Everybody always says but it's a dry heat. So, we don't suggest you not update your AC, but we're getting away from ourselves. So I did some research and I'm going to be sharing with you. Last week we talked about how much is my home worth. And one of the things that we pointed out, we factored in the average return on investment for home improvements in terms of like the value of your home compared to how much money you put into renovating it. Do you remember?
64%.
64% is the average.
Nationwide, across any and all updates that you could possibly do. So obviously there's some that are going to bring more money.
Yep.
And there's some that are going to bring less money.
And that's what we're talking about today. We want to go run down a list of what you can do to your home to get the biggest, like highest return on investment or ROI for home improvement.
Computer's so gonna die.
Versus, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to die. I put battery saver. That's okay. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's on my fancy computer. So the biggest return on investment is we're going to start off and then we're going to work our way down towards that 64 mark. I think I only go into about the 80s. Now, one thing I want to point out is the numbers that I pulled is kind of like a national running average. and things are going to be local specific. So I'm going to give you what the average return on investment for specific home improvements are, and then Jerry's going to give you the hot take as it applies to our local real estate market. So like Southwest Florida, for instance. And so I'm going to need to call on him as the local real estate expert because he is and I'm not. And so I'm going to go off of my research. I want to talk real quick about, it's the Serenity Prayer, right? You know what that is? It's like, God, give me the ability to change the things I can change. I can change, and to accept the things that I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference between those two. Real quick, before we get into what you can change and how you can impact the value of your home, we don't want you to stress or sweat about things that you cannot change that impact the value of your home. So what are some of those? So first things first, you can't change the location of your house, right? That's the big running joke in real estate.
Unless you have a mobile home. Then you could pick it up and move it.
I didn't even think about that. So you could actually like pick it up and move it?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to like pick it up and carry it on your back, but you can pick it up like on a semi.
So, okay, for the most part, if you're in a single family home, condo, townhouse, things like that, you cannot change the location of your home, and that's going to impact the value of it. So just kind of it is what it is. What else can we not impact? Your neighbors and what they do.
Oh, you can impact your neighbors, but you cannot change your neighbors without moving.
Well, that's true. You can't convince neighbors who don't regularly mow their lawn to now start to mow their lawn more because your home is on the market or something like that. So you're just kind of stuck with the neighbors that you're stuck with. Hopefully they stay inside while you're showing your home if
they keep their loud barking dogs inside.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
They disguise their 15 cars in the yard as lawn ornaments instead of cars.
Yeah. You can't control any of that. So just like zen it out. Yeah.
So you just have to ignore it. I mean,
just acknowledge that you don't have control of that. You can't control whether or not your home is located in an HOA. Typically there is an HOA or there's not an HOA, or like us, we are in an HOA that has nothing to do with anything. Like
it doesn't really have an HOA.
Yeah. But you can't change that. When you go to put your house on the market, there's going to be people who love gated communities or HOA communities and are looking specifically for that, and they'll run their search that way, and vice versa, where people are looking to not be in an HOA or looking to not have restrictions placed on their home or gated community. And so you can't change it. It is what it is. And then lastly, you can't change the current market. If somebody, let me give you, for instance, we've heard of like, oh my goodness, so-and-so down the road desperately needed to sell their home and move back up north because of a family emergency, and they sold it for $30,000 under what most people would see as market value. Like, tough, right? There's nothing you can do about that.
Unless you're going to go buy it. There's nothing you can do about it.
Pay the proper value for it. Yeah, no, there's nothing you can do about it. So just like feel good that you can take in and change the things that you can change, and be zen about what you can't change, and have the wisdom to recognize those two different things. And I just want to point out, I don't think that we've brought it up yet. Feel free to ask us questions. So I'm here on Facebook Live. I am your voice. If you have questions for Jerry, our local expert, type them in the comments here, and I could read them off to him. And let us know what questions you have about the value of your home or return on investment or anything like that we're talking about today. So let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Number one, minor bathroom remodel warrants an average of 102% return on investment across the board nationwide. Tell me what a minor bathroom remodel would look like, and what that looks like here in our local market. Do you see that as being true? Is like, if you do this, you're guaranteed to get your money back on it?
I would say yes.
Okay.
So my opinion of a minor bathroom remodel versus your research's opinion of a minor bathroom remodel are a little bit different.
Okay.
So your research, you said.
So here's what they listed: caulk. Like they said, they use this for example. If you can frost your kid's birthday cake, you can recaulk your bathroom tub and sink, and put like fresh white caulking in it that's not peeling away.
That's they not said moldy or mildewy.
Right. Reglazing your tub or shower. And things like painting the walls, taking down old wall coverings, like if you have wallpaper in your bathroom, get rid of it. And updating like switch plates, make sure they're clean and fresh and white. All of those are really inexpensive things to do that will guarantee. Light fixtures.
Yes.
Are big in bathrooms.
And so replacing mirrors.
Mirrors.
Because the mirrors a lot of times will get like funky around the edges.
Cracked in,
kick the desk.
That's okay.
Yeah, that stuff. So that's all pretty minor. I mean, I thought they were talking like redoing shower tiles and stuff like that. Like when you get into pulling shower tile down and replacing that gets a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger of a job, a little more expensive. But yeah, I mean all that stuff like cabinet hardware, you don't even have to necessarily replace the vanity, the cabinets and the countertops and that sort of thing if if they're reasonably up to date. You just replace the knobs
on it,
faucets and light fixtures and fresh paint. And usually that's enough. And, that'll make a huge difference and will definitely bring massive value.
Awesome. And so I agree with that. I see it. So when Jerry takes on a new listing, a lot of times he'll bring me in to point out some of these things. I come in as like, the view or the eye of the potential buyers, and I can run down and be like, this bothers me, this doesn't bother me, or I don't notice this. I have a pretty good attention for detail. And this is one of those things that time and time again, very inexpensive. You could literally $400 or $500 and almost guarantee you get a couple extra grand on the house. Right. It gives the illusion of being updated.
Right.
It gives the illusion of being upgraded. Just from those simple, fresh tips. It was. Yes.
And freshened.
Yes. You're right, the little listing description. Landscaping, number 2. On average, 100% return on investment. So landscaping, they, in my research, what a great suggestion is to go to one of your local like nurseries or hardware centers. And they often have design services where you can go in and be like, I live, who knows better than what will go in your county, your state, your city than the people who are watching these plants all the time. You can bring them pictures of your yard and say, I need help or suggestions, and they can help you get that all set up. Of course, you can pay them to come in and do some landscaping services. I feel like we need to get some work done.
We've been doing work.
Oh. Not we've been doing work, like you've been doing work. Oh yeah, that's true.
Curbing, rock.
So they suggest grass, making sure it's green and fresh sod. Is that, I don't know, what's our local grass here and how does it work to like get?
True Green Chemlon, they just come and paint it green.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yes.
They just paint the grass?
It's fertilizer. But it's got a green dye in it, so it basically makes your grass green. Yeah.
That's amazing. So they suggest you do a splash of color out front to improve the front facing, your curb appeal. And they suggest you do one single color palette where it's like all pinks and reds or all blues and purples. Yeah,
like green, similar grass and trees and all that are green.
Yeah, but like similar color palettes, like all yellows and whites or something like that. So it's not so it's a cohesive look to it, but they suggest varying the heights of the plant. So some low-laying plants, some taller up plants. Make sure that all of your shrubs are trimmed and kept neat. You can add like sealant to your concrete or your pavers or what, I don't know, can you add, I'm now talking outside of what I know about. So they said just make everything look
around
shiny.
The mulch beds is not real expensive. I mean, we just did our entire house. I think it was like $1,200. and like all the way around our entire
Right.
house. You know, it's a little more expensive, but if you definitely new mulch, if you have mulch, we got rid of all of our mulch and put rock down. That's a little more expensive to do, but you know, definitely freshen the mulch if you know, if you're not gonna switch to rock or something like that.
They suggest that good
And pick a good color for mulch.
Good walkways. And is there a color that people like more that you see people prefer? Or does it depend on the home?
It's gonna depend probably more on the home and what color
the house is.
Yep.
Also, too, this is a suggestion that when we were reviewing our notes, very hyper local or very local to us. We suggest you get if you don't already, get fire ant control treatment done on the property. We're sitting at right about an acre. We pay fire ant control $100 every 3 or 4 months to come in and treat our entire acre. And it's like, it's like $100. So you're talking $30 a month. 0 anthills, fire anthills anywhere. Especially if you are working towards 6 months, 1 year, 18 months out from showing your home, putting it on the real estate market, nothing's more frustrating than walking around a home, showing it to potential buyers, and them stepping in fire ants. It just leaves such a bad taste in their mouth. Like, they leave your house in pain.
I can tell you that I've never shown a home where somebody got bit by fire ants. Did they buy that house?
No.
I can't say that they didn't buy it because they got bit.
Right.
But they definitely...
it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It's like it's a bad first memory. It's a bad start to that house. Weird minor thing. They also suggest that things like updated walkways or like added like little garden paths or fountains always pay off, where you're going to get your return on investment back for that.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Number 3, we've talked about minor bathroom remodel. We've talked about landscaping being the top 2 in terms of return on investment, making sure you get your money back out of it. Number 3 is going to be minor kitchen remodel. Now notice, just like we talked about with the bathroom, this isn't major kitchen remodel. This is minor kitchen remodel. So tell me what that means. And what do you see here locally that people are looking for? What would be your best return on investment in terms of minor kitchen remodel?
Again, if you're, if your kitchen is reasonably up to date, even if it's, I've seen kitchens where they're like the cheapest of the cheap cabinets, but they're the color that's popular right now. And, from the late 80s, early 90s, doesn't matter. As long as they're in good shape and they're the right color, you don't even have to do that. Just cabinets or like cabinet hardware. So knobs and drawer pulls.
Yes.
Or
very
handles.
inexpensive. You can go to Hobby Lobby and get some really expensive looking ones, or your any stores like Lowe's, Home Depot. Very inexpensive. Paint, of course.
Tile backsplashes. Yep. Updating appliances.
I was surprised. You mentioned countertops when we were talking about this. Is it not that expensive? How much would it be, for instance, to redo our countertops right now? Just out of curiosity.
It obviously depends on the material you use.
Okay.
And there's different grades of, like for granite. There's a level 1 granite and there's a level 5 granite. The level 5 granite, the level 1 granite you can get for like $35 to maybe $40 a square foot.
Okay. Is that installed or is that just for, okay.
No, that's installed.
All right, cool.
Because most people are not installing granite themselves because it's heavy.
Right.
A level 5 is probably closer to like $80 to $100 a square foot. So it's gonna depend on what you do.
Okay.
But for a like level 1, level 2 in our kitchen, I'm gonna guess we could probably get it done for under $4,000.
Okay.
And we got a lot of countertop.
Yeah.
So most your average kitchen's probably like $2,500, maybe $3,000.
Tell me about appliances. Appliances is a big upgrade that we suggest to people. If you don't have stainless, I'm not saying that you can't sell a home with white appliances.
Or black appliances.
Right.
Probably not with bisque appliances. If you still got bisque.
What is that? Is that like the cream color?
Yeah, from like the 70s.
Bisque, is that what it was called? So white's okay, black's okay.
Now,
it's
like,
better if they're recent.
50s and
It's better if they
60s,
match.
like 50s and 60s pink or blue or something like that
Ooh.
might work.
May I suggest an avocado? So, no avocado.
Maybe.
No.
It depends on the decor of the rest of the kitchen.
So, yes. So, how much does a standard set of matching decent appliances
almost
cost?
always find on sale at Home Depot, at Lowe's, at like like any of your appliance stores, Good Deals, anything like that. You can almost always find delivered, installed, removing the old stuff for right around $2,000.
That's incredible. And let me
now,
tell you,
of course, if you've got a higher end home, you're going to put higher end appliances
Sure.
in it. But for your average $250,000 house, $2,000, $2,500, plenty for a basic, decent, standard set of stainless appliances.
Because I feel like what the importance is in getting new appliances, it's not so much that most home shoppers aren't looking for, it's got to be this brand of appliances. Most home shoppers are looking for, my milk is going to be the first milk spilled in this refrigerator. There's something to be said.
Well, the biggest thing with appliances is appliances are garbage after 10 years typically.
Right.
If they make it 10 years, you've gotten your lifespan out of them. So if you've got a kitchen where your appliances are 10 years old or older,
right,
everybody's expecting they're going to have to replace it within the next year. So they're factoring in, and they're always estimating, oh, my appliances are going to cost me $5,000.
Right.
So they're going to want $5,000 off your home.
Right.
Where if you put brand new appliances in, it's under warranty and you don't question it.
And you can even, and you can even raise the price that you're estimating to put your home on the market at several thousand more because of the new appliances.
Right.
And that's when you start getting into real value in terms of return on investment for things like that. So I feel like appliances is one of the biggest ones that I've seen locally. Mm-hmm. For people to do that, and it's almost guaranteed people love it, and it like gets snatched off the market immediately. People love new appliances. So countertops, fixtures, stuff like that.
New faucet, if yours is corroded or loose or whatever, throw a new faucet in there. $150 for a nice one.
What about things like adding a garbage disposal if you don't have it or anything like that? Is that ever worth it, or people are never going to not buy a home because of a garbage disposal or a little sprayer fountain? Or
it depends on. It depends, but no. Typically, most people aren't going to say, "I'm not buying this house because it doesn't have a garbage disposal."
So number 4, we're going to move on. Number 4 is exterior improvements. And that comes in at around 95.5% in terms of ROI, much higher than the 64% that average investment gets you back in terms of home improvement. So we've already talked about landscaping though, because this is different than landscaping.
Correct.
Just exterior improvement.
So this is like exterior of the actual house itself, not the property.
Right. So we are talking about paint, exterior paint.
Paint is huge.
Can you get away with just pressure wash? Can you pressure wash the whole home?
Sure. So sometimes, pressure washing can make a massive difference in a house that's just a couple, that was painted, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Okay.
But if the house needs paint, the pressure washing is going to take all the mold and the mildew and the dirt off of it, but it's also going to take off the dried out dusty film on the paint, and it's going to make it look thin. So you're going to see the thin spots, you're going to see where the paint is worn down and faded, and so it's going to make the need for new paint probably more obvious.
Okay.
However, it's still going to make the house look better because it's clean.
Because it's clean at least.
So yeah, there's...
So
if it needs paint, it needs paint. But pressure washing is huge.
Soft wash? What do they call it when they don't use it? Because we just had this done on our house during the COVID, where when we were stuck inside of our house, we're like, let's do some exterior improvements. That's when we got curbing done, rock put down, and we had our house soft.
Yeah, a lot of companies, pressure washing companies, they do soft wash now, because it's better, because the pressure from the pressure washers actually can actually do damage to the house. So they soft wash it, which is they use chemicals. They still got the pressure to get everything up there, but it comes out more in like a mist with the chemicals and the detergents. So cleaning the roof, cleaning the gutters and soffit, and the fascia, cleaning the sides, the actual walls of the house, pool cage and pool deck is huge. Driveway makes a big difference. We did everything. We did our entire house, but a lot of people don't do it.
Right.
And you just go through pictures and you see a house with a pool and you're like, oh, that used to be a white cage and now it's green.
Right.
And why didn't they bother to clean it?
Well, I know
it is so worth it. It makes a huge difference.
We had a client we worked with 2 years ago down in Naples. He had his home on the market for 2.5 years. How long?
Almost 4 years. When we got the listing, it had been listed with 3 other realtors for almost 4 years.
And we're talking a $500,000-$600,000 home in a very nice gated community. And we told him, we gave him a list
the entire time. Mm-hmm. It was vacant so they listed it the first time and moved out sometime during that first listing.
Right.
And it had been vacant for 3 years.
Liz, I'm going to answer your question in just a second. Well, of course I'm not, Jerry is, but yeah. And so this Naples listing, when we were talking to the homeowner, he was not living in the home, just drowning in like cost and fees associated with carrying this home. Can you imagine carrying a mortgage payment and HOA fees and all of this?
Property taxes, homeowners insurance, utilities.
So when we came to him, we pride ourselves on being real talk. We told him, we went and looked at the house and we told him, here's a list of things that you have to do right now before we'll accept your listing. Because if we're going to pay a professional photographer and videographer, professional signs to be made specific for your community and stuff like that, we see that as an investment. But on there, the single biggest difference was pressure washing that home, going in and getting rid of all of the cobwebs and all of the exterior, the filthy door, the roof.
Tile roof was black.
It looked like a brand new home again. It went from looking like something that's been sitting on the market for 3 years to something that looked like a model home. Completely vacant. We filled the nail holes. We pulled out all the nails, filled nail holes, redid the paint. It was very inexpensive, and he was able to get it finally sold with us.
And we went under contract in 30 days.
Yeah.
After almost 4 years of not being able to, they didn't have a single offer. None of those other
talk to me.
Times it was listed.
Talk to me about, we're on exterior improvements, and Liz asked here, she's jumping in and asking, is a fence considered part of landscaping, or is that what we're talking about right now?
No, I would
improvements.
I would consider a fence exterior improvements.
Do you feel like there's a return on investment for that, or what do you feel like it is?
So
where would your best estimate sit?
Yes, there is value in adding a fence. However, I would say it's not a huge plus.
Okay.
Because it's more of a convenience thing for most people.
Sure.
Unless you are somebody who has pets.
It's pet owners, right?
Or kids that you're going to let go outside and run around the backyard.
Sure.
Otherwise, most people could pretty much care less whether it's got a fence or not. Some people occasionally for privacy. But it's not going to be, definitely not going to be at the top of the list. I would put it somewhere in probably, depending on the type of fence too, and how well it's been maintained.
Is there a better type of fence that you see is more popular or more preferred?
Well, if you're going to go privacy fence, it's definitely vinyl over like a wood fence.
I see. Is that just less maintenance or?
Well, and they last so much longer.
Okay.
A vinyl fence, I mean, all you really got to do to that is pressure wash it every once in a while because it will get mold and mildew on it. But you're probably in the ballpark of like 75%
return on
investment, I would guess.
Here's where
if you've maintained it well.
Here's where I like fencing. Here's where fencing really comes into play. If you have identical houses, 2 same houses right across the street from each other, same house, same floor plan, same options, same updates, for the right buyer, it will be the difference. They will be, if they're pet owners or they have children, it will be the difference between.
You think it's going to survive or should
I'm going to run and get it.
Okay.
It'll be the difference. I'm going to get out of here and go get my charger because I forgot it. And so talk about pressure washer, the mailbox lighting, stuff like that. And I'm going to go get us charged up so you don't lose us.
All right. So the other exterior things, obviously we talked about paint, pressure washing. Replace or paint your mailbox and mailbox post. Makes such a big difference. I mean, it's one of the first things people see when they pull up to your house. We talked about landscaping, it's curb appeal. It's one of those things that a lot of people overlook as homeowners living in the house. You go to your mailbox every day, get your mail, and you don't really look at the fact that, oh, it's beat up or, chipped or faded or, the mailbox post is all chewed up at the bottom because of the lawn guys and their weed eaters and all that. So fix up the mailbox, make sure it looks good. Well, exterior lighting. Talk about curb appeal for lighting. If you can do some uplighting and stuff like that on some of your land, like if you've got some palm trees or something like that up front, at night you got some lighting that pops on and really lights the house up and makes it look just things like that. It's not very common. You don't see it a lot. Again, so it catches people's eye.
It's that idea of curb appeal. Yep. It is when somebody, it's like dating. You just meet somebody and you get like a first impression right off the bat with like your initial impression of them. It's the same exact thing with shoppers, with home shoppers, where they pull up and there's a moment of like, could I see myself living here? And the question is, how much do they see? And they immediately think like, here's work to be done. Here's more work to be done. Here's more work to be done. It decreases how excited they get about the potential of the future with that home.
So there's a house in your mom's neighborhood.
Okay.
That they did a bunch of, it's really cool. And it's the only place I've ever seen it. They did a bunch of recessed lights all around the front of the house. Like in the paver driveway.
Oh, cool.
It's like they're like recessed into the driveway and the walkway and all around the whole front of the house. And it shines up onto like the soffit underneath the roof and just lights up the whole front of the house. And it looked like every time I drive in there, I'm like, wow, that's the coolest looking house.
That sounds so inviting.
Because they put some lights in.
And it's nothing, it's going to be the same house as what's built 3 doors down, but just because of that minor detail.
And what else? So, and then your lighting that you already have, like your coach lights on the...
Just make sure everything's painted.
The lights by your front door, the lights that are outside of your garage.
Yep.
All of those things, you can repaint those things so easily most of the time if they're looking a little rough and chipped up and that sort of thing, or if you have to replace them.
So this is something that's not on our list, but I've been thinking about in terms of, sorry, I got lipstick all over his mug. World's Best Boss, but it's my lips on it.
Why is there lipstick on my drink?
Multiple places too. I can't even drink from the same spot. Also, very local, but if you are a typical Floridian with a lanai, please make sure your screen enclosures are rescreened, no holes in them, no tears in them, no rips in them, because everybody knows that means you have bugs and lizards living all throughout. If you
Again, not very expensive.
Not expensive, but then also a lot of us have exterior ceiling fans and that kind of lighting, where we have a wraparound porch, and so we have I think 3 or 4 ceiling fans that desperately need to be replaced right now, and it would for under $1,000 I could buy fans, have somebody install them, and it would massively improve like the curb appeal of our home. of like painting the picture of somebody sitting and relaxing on our front porch.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. What else do we have? We have, after exterior improvements, now we're starting to get into some of the major remodels, which are still just barely at the 90%. We have major bathroom remodel at 93.2% average return on investment. So number one, we had minor bathroom remodel. What are we on? 5 is major bathroom remodel, and it gets you a spread of about 10%.
So bathrooms are a big deal.
But bathrooms are a really big deal. And so this is everything like facelift to the vanity. If you need to add a linen closet, they're talking about actually building and changing the structure of your bathroom, especially master bathroom.
Yeah, so you're talking replacing cabinets now, replacing countertops.
Tile flooring being replaced.
Redoing flooring, redoing showers, redoing tubs, like big stuff.
Plumbing issues. We know that I think we talked briefly about the plumbing polybutylene plumbing here in Southwest Florida, where if you have this specific type of plumbing in it, you have to get it. You can't. Does it not pass inspection? What's the deal?
So if it shows up in a home inspection that you have polybutylene plumbing, most insurance companies will not insure your home because it cracks and leaks.
Okay.
On a regular basis.
So you have to have it fixed. If you're selling your home, yeah.
Most insurance companies are, in order to write an insurance policy, they're going to require that it's been replaced. And so you basically have to replumb the entire house. And so then when that shows up, most buyers are either going to freak out and say, nope, I don't want this house.
Right.
And you're going to lose them. Or they're going to ask you as a seller to fix it anyways. So you might as well take care of it up front and not risk losing them.
Sure. So I'm going to type this, but after major bath remodel is the major kitchen remodel. So bathrooms and kitchens seem to be the two big ones that are signs of, and I feel like that those are the big, like, updated kitchen, updated bath, updated.
Yeah.
What in kitchen, so major bath remodel was getting you about 93. Major kitchen remodel is going to get you on average about 91% return on investment. So that's flooring, cabinetry. What else?
So basically you're redoing the entire kitchen. Your cabinets, countertops, of course, appliances still, paint, backsplash, adding or removing an island or moving it. Our neighbors across the street are talking about they've got right now a peninsula. They're going to cut that off. They're going to add an island and move a sink. You got to move plumbing. You got to move electrical. You got to do a bunch of stuff. So that can get expensive.
So in terms of cost, I found a pretty neat rule of thumb. So the problem with kitchen is they said if your home value rises and your kitchen finishes don't rise with the value of your home, that's the time that you need to start recognizing that you need to remodel your kitchen. Right. It needs to keep on par with how much if you have a...
So if you bought a house in 2010 for $200,000 and now it's worth $400,000.
Right.
Or it would be worth $400,000, but you haven't done the kitchen.
$400,000 type kitchen.
Right, it's got a basic kitchen in it. You need to spend the money to upgrade to get there. Otherwise, your house is probably a $350,000 house.
Right, and they say that the major remodel of your kitchen should come in at approximately 10 to 15% of the value of your home. So if we were talking in that scenario, you should be spending $40,000 on improving your kitchen to make
40 to 60.
Mm-hmm,
but you got to be careful because you don't want to spend 80 or 100 because that's
you don't want to over improve.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you do. So that's why if you're talking about doing things like this, call us and ask.
Yes, for sure.
We can help guide you and give you here's the colors you should go with, here's the things that you should do. We can help with that stuff.
Yes. So next is going to be, so it's listed as national deck, patio, porch edition. Of course, here we know locally we're talking pools.
Or lanais.
Or lanai. So hit us up. What does it look like? I have here the average is 90.3%, which is higher in the west of the US and falls a little bit in the south where it gets like hot and stuff like that, where you're not just like sitting in San Francisco air on your deck.
So lanais, absolutely. Like
Okay.
if your home doesn't have a lanai and you add a lanai,
You'll get
in most places you're gonna get probably all, maybe even more than what you put into it, depending on how you do it and all that. Pools, not so much. Pools typically run about 50%.
Oh. So you put in a $20,000 pool and
Well, you don't put in a $20,000 pool in Southwest Florida because you can't. I don't know any pool company that does a pool for 20 grand unless it's an above ground pool.
Look at me talking like I know what I'm talking about. How much is a typical pool?
A typical basic pool,
basic
with
square
a cage
rectangular
is
pool with a
$40,000.
Holy shirt.
And it'll get you 20 grand in an appraisal.
Oh man.
So you
gotta really want
better off buying a house that already has a pool, unless you get better than a $40,000 difference. Like if you're looking at a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot house with no pool, and you can buy it for $260, but that same house with a pool already in it is $300, then you're good. You get 100% of your money out of it.
Well, and it's interesting because just like the fence, I feel like a pool is one of those things where what you're really doing is people who want a pool have to have a pool.
Correct.
Just like people who want a
fence. You're widening your buyer pool.
Exactly right.
Or your pool of buyers and sellers. Because there are people who will say, I will not buy a house that doesn't have a pool.
Right.
Or I will not buy a house that doesn't have a fence.
Right, because they have pets or reasons for it.
But there is almost nobody out there who will say, I won't buy a house
because it
has a pool.
Right.
Almost anybody, if they're looking for a house that doesn't have a pool, they will take one that has a pool if it's what they want and it fits in their budget. Usually it doesn't fit in their budget, but they will take one if it's got it. I think I've only had one person ever in all the clients that I've ever worked with that said, I absolutely refuse to buy a house that has a pool.
Interesting. So let's go on to, so I told you when we were talking about my research, I told you that number 8 on the list was replacement windows, and you scoffed at that. Before I could even preface it with like, oh, it's on average nationwide of 98% or 89% return on investment, but it's less in hot weather. Like Phoenix, they quoted, typical Phoenix home, you're going to get closer to 60% return on investment.
Probably closer to that here too.
Is that what it looks
windows,
like?
I mean,
what about like hurricane-proof windows? If you're gonna replace your windows, what kind of windows makes the most return on investment?
Oh, impact glass for sure. I mean, the reality is windows are not as expensive as most people think that they are.
Okay. Because they sound expensive.
They do.
Not as expensive as a pool. Now.
Not usually.
That seems really expensive.
The most expensive part of when most people replace windows and doors, the absolute most expensive part is sliders.
Okay.
Doors usually aren't super expensive, but sliding glass doors are expensive, especially if you're upgrading to impact glass.
Okay.
Windows, unless you've got some like big crazy like mitered glass windows or something like that, those get a little bit pricier. But a typical window is not super expensive. This dog just wants to be in every video.
Every single one. Hi, baby.
He want to be a movie star.
He's our mascot.
So
our dog to work with us every day.
But yeah, I mean, impact glass is not that much more expensive, and people love it. It's not. Is it necessary? No, typically not, because the reality of impact glass is if it gets hit by something big and heavy in a hurricane, it's probably breaking.
Right.
Just like a regular window. Well, not just like a regular window, but it's breaking. They both will break. The difference is impact glass is designed to not collapse. So it still provides the water resistance from the rain and all that, where a regular window is going to shatter and fall in, and then you're getting rain and everything else inside. So you'll still have to, a lot of times, replace it after a storm if it gets hit by something. But the big difference is normally impact glass is going to provide more energy efficiency. Because
so that's good,
thicker.
even if
Yep.
if you're going to do it, you might as well do it.
And they also provide a lot better sound insulation.
Okay.
So like road noise and stuff like that is a lot less, causes a lot less issues. So it's really nice in a home where you're like right by a busy road or by the interstate or something. Impact glass will make a huge difference inside. But most homes and most buyers, especially people that aren't local, that aren't familiar with hurricanes, they've heard the horror stories of, hurricane shutters are such a nightmare to put up and all that, or snowbirds, stuff like that.
Which they are a pain.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like,
they are, but you have to do it so infrequently that it's, it's not really that big of a deal. But for people who aren't here during hurricane season, especially, like, that's a huge plus for them.
Right.
So if you're going to do it, it's not that much more expensive to do impact glass. You might as well just do it.
Just do it.
But in terms of actual bringing value to the home, I mean, I see houses all the time that somebody came in, bought a house that was in rough shape, what we refer to in the investor world as fix and flips.
Mm-hmm.
They go in, they renovate, they redo the kitchen, they redo the bathrooms, they redo the floors, they paint everything. They don't do the windows. Almost ever do they do the windows.
Sure.
I mean, even houses that were built in like the 60s, they still got the original windows. Because they don't bring the money. They're not gonna
pay for it.
Yeah, they're not gonna get
pay off
their money back out of it. So, you're probably around 70%, 70% maybe. So it's more doing it for you.
Right.
And then will you get more money? Yes.
Sure.
So like if you're planning on living in the house for 5 to 10 years, do the windows, you get 5 to 10 years worth of life out of them.
Right.
And then you've got an upgrade when you sell it too.
And not for nothing, like at some point you need to do what's best for you and your family and your home.
Correct.
So listen, if you love gardening,
but if you're doing it to sell, don't do it just to sell it.
Yeah. But like if you're a gardener and you love having a variety of plants, don't be like, oh, I'm not going to get my full return on investment in 10 years when I sell my home. Therefore, I'm only going to plant pink flowers. Like, no, do what makes you love your home. Just think of these things in terms of if we do this, it will eventually increase the value of our home. That pool situation is shocking to me. $40,000 to go in and you get 50%, you get 20 grand for a pool.
Yep.
Whew. So you better want a pool, but enjoy a pool.
And a pool with a hot tub is going to cost you 50 grand plus.
Right.
And you get 25 grand.
Oh my goodness. That's wild to me. So our last piece, number 9, and I kind of bulked it all together. If you're curious to know the order, it's basically interior, like main living areas, improving the decor. So you're talking paint and stuff like that. And it goes family room, bonus room, living room.
Just paint the whole house. Paint everything. Because in my opinion, other than like landscaping improvements and like the minor easy stuff,
you think it should be higher?
Paint is the absolute. Just by painting it,
right,
it just makes it feel fresh and clean and so much better. You will always get your money. Well, I shouldn't say always, because if you paint a hideous color, you're going to have problems.
Sure.
But if you're thinking about selling and what can I do to increase the value of my home, the minor things, the minor kitchen, the minor bathroom, and paint.
So not just paint. Can I say that I buy like the little tubs. I'm the painter. I've worked as an interior painter before. It's been a while. But I paint in our home, and I've done murals before and stuff like that. Filling nail holes. So nobody ever
going off the camera.
Nobody it's just like the idea of pulling up and seeing projects. Like, what's your initial impression going to be? Is it like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done, is pick this home and move my things in and make it perfect? There's something to be said for filling every single nail hole before you repaint and make sure that the walls look beautiful, because they can see their kid's school picture going there. Yeah, it does. It feels move-in ready. You're exactly right. It feels like just bring in your family's things and it's ready to go, because it's a clean slate. And I think fresh paint, you're probably right. I think fresh paint is I know that it's one of the more recommended things that I give, especially like, we pointed this out.
If you're willing to paint, if you're willing to do it yourself, it's cheap to paint. It doesn't really take that long. It's a nightmare.
Right. It's not
in my
a nightmare.
opinion.
It's not
I can't stand it, but
but like, nobody would ever want to move in to a bedroom that has a giant blue N painted on in a yellow and white room. So like, if you have something that's extraordinary in terms of paint color, just paint it. It's no big deal. And yeah, I think that's just about it. I think we've covered it all. I'm so glad that you guys have enjoyed this. We've enjoyed talking about it. It's given me some ideas of things. And let me tell you, if you're thinking about doing any of these things and you have questions about it, call Jerry or I, or send us a Facebook message. We have a person for everybody. We have a flooring guy. We have, somebody for everything. We have somebody who does general home improvements, like a handyman. We have painters. We have fencing people. We have people that we've worked with over the last year that we know, like, and trust enough to refer them out to our other friends and clients. And so let us know if you have any questions. Important. Next week, we are going to be away from the computer. We have to take a 1 week break. Jerry's real estate license, we are with Keller Williams as our brokerage. Next week is Keller Williams, what's called Mega Camp. It's a big week of networking and training. We're doing it all virtually, of course, because of COVID this year. But Jerry's going away for a week on a CEO retreat, and he's going to go and take his computer and lock himself away for a week and learn how to help his business and his clients with their real estate needs better for the year to come. And so we are going to be 1 week off, and then we will come back. Do you remember what our last seller topic is for 2 weeks from today?
I don't.
The 5 biggest mistakes that homeowners make when trying to sell their home. That dog, we always joke that our family has a personal space problem because we're like attached at the hip, all 5 of us, between me, Jerry, our 2 kids, and the dog. But we like it because we're obsessed with each other.
Have you ever seen 4 people and a dog in a single person chair? Because I feel like that's what that's family movie night.
It's family movie night. Like, let's all go on the love seat. Like, all 5 of us. There's just a dog on top with kids in the middle and like adults on the bottom. But that's okay. I guess it's better than not liking each other.
It is,
You're so
especially in this current situation.
Oh, you guys are so welcome. We've had such a great time today, as we always do. Thank you so much for joining us for Talk About It Tuesday. You can check us out. Our YouTube channel is the Niesman Team. You can find us there. You can message us here on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram, same name, Jerry Niesman. And 239-201-9583 is our local business line. You can call us, text us, send us a photo message. Let us know if you need a guy or a gal, if you need like a referral to somebody for some home improvements. We got great people in all corners. And yeah, that's it. Sorry about the lipstick. You are the world's best boss, though.
Awesome.
I guess I gotta go clean his bug. Bye, guys. Bye. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we'll see you in 2 days. Home tour.
No, because I gotta go do a home inspection Thursday.
That's right. We're selling a house up in Tampa, and so we will not be here Thursday. So this is
home inspection at 3:30 on that one.
Yeah. So
can't be on the phone while doing a home inspection on the video.
You will see us on Tuesday, the 22nd. We will be back here for Talk About It Tuesday. It is in our calendar. We cannot wait to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye.
And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go.
You got to do your face thing. You got to pose.
I'm trying to figure out which side my braid looks.
Which means I have to click on it because you're trying to figure out which side of your face is better. There you go. It's